asked for it. Here it is. It's a podcast from Apathetic Enthusiasm.
Coming to you live from Walt Disney's personal freezer. There's a frozen mouse, and a frozen duck, and a frozen dog, and a frozen cow, and a frozen woman with a tiara. Let's explore it all here on our new podcast, Interdimensional IRSS, the unofficial Rick and Morty murder podcast.
Yeah, it's a Disney murder podcast, and we're giving you all the gory details.
All the goods. All the goods. The
We
year
have-
was 1947.
We have no scruples. Did you turn off original sound for your musicians?
Yes, I did. Sure did. Scruples. What are scruples? I think that's a currency in the Zelda.
That sounds like a Rick and Morty currency. I need 4 scruples.
4 series of scruples.
Hi everybody. My name's Travis.
Hey everybody, I'm Brandon, and welcome to Interdimensional RSS. We are happy to have you here in the throes, in the mix of the season. We're midway through season 8 already. It's
That's
crazy.
crazy. That's so wild. I've been so distracted.
We'll talk about all of Travis's distractions here in a second after we get through some social media things. We are on everybody's favorite platform, facebook.com/Rick and Morty podcast. And then their second favorite, X, Rick and Morty pod. Instagram, Rick and Morty podcast. Email, rickandmortypodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for all the emails that we get that are not spam from all the different services that we subscribe to improve the efficiency of our podcasting publishing. Blue Sky, rickandmortypod.bsky.social. We are on the web. You can find us tangentially through me at rickandmorty.reddit.com, where I am doing I'm hosting the posts for post episode and live episode reviews, and definitely not getting like weirdly offended by like, trust me, I get these names from Adult Swim. And then our website,
I'm a reliable narrator.
and then website rickandmortypod.com. We are streaming this through the YouTubes, Apathetic Enthusiasm, where you can find this show and more. And then support us. Go to Patreon, patreon.com/Apathetic Enthusiasm. There it is, Travis. Now, before we got started in the social media things, we talked about you being distracted.
Yeah.
And we all know what you were distracted by. Major world events going on. How are
the
you?
NBA Finals. The NBA, yeah.
How are you feeling about that?
Pretty good. Eagle-eyed listeners of the podcast know that I am in the middle of the United States in a state called Oklahoma, where the Oklahoma City Thunder just won the NBA Finals. Congrats to the team. It was a blast. I got to be there with a friend, a mutual friend and longtime supporter of all of our podcast endeavors. Special shout out to Bob Carroll. Yeah.
Old Bobby C.
Old Bobby C. And yeah, it was an amazing time and just super fun to get to witness that. But yeah, now the NBA season is over, and I have all the way until Wednesday when the NBA draft starts to focus on other things like Rick and Morty.
That's right. That's right.
No, I can now really focus in on this show. I mean, I've been paying attention. Well, I've done most of the show notes still for most of our episodes. So I haven't been that distracted.
Eagle-eyed viewers will notice that Travis is wearing a Thunder playoff shirt, not a Thunder championship.
I mean, it's cut off. Like eagle-eyed viewers would not have known that.
No, they would. They would know. They would
shirt up like this.
Because eagle-eyed viewers would be like, "Wait a minute, that's not a championship shirt. That's a playoff shirt."
I ordered the championship shirt from Fanatics, and it takes 2 to 3 days. Yeah.
Why didn't you get one there, dude?
It was kind of crazy at the stadium after they won the game, and I really liked the court-worn shirt that they wore, that they gave out to all the players and staff, that they wore on the court during the trophy ceremony. So yeah, that's the one that I bought. Yeah,
So
it'll be here in
so
a couple days.
so
I'll
you
wear
bought
my
one of the-
finals hat to the parade tomorrow. I mean,
you bought one of the shirts that they wore.
yeah, yeah, off their backs.
You know, what if they're like, yeah, we can sell a bunch of shirts that the players have worn, and then like there's like a factory, like kind of like a assembly line of the shirt going on the
A
players,
simple Rick's type factory where
and then taking it off. Dun 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 dun. Yeah, that'd be cool.
yeah, our T-shirts are steeped in the sense of victory and champagne. Get
Champagne.
yours on Fanatics with offer code SHIP29 to get free shipping.
Champagne, which we all know that like 22-year-old men who play basketball don't know how to open.
Did you see those videos?
I caught like just like the tail end of like an article about
Yeah,
it.
the oldest guy on the team is like 35, I think, or something like that, and he had to teach them all how to do like spray champagne because they were not familiar with that. Anyway, this is a Rick and Morty podcast. We're getting real apathetic enthusiasm up in here.
Yeah, real.
You're
about
gonna want to click that timestamp in the comments to skip ahead to your favorite parts of the episode. But before we do that, let's get into our first segment, the one that we like to call semi-pertinent news.
Semi-pertinent news.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's right.
semi-pertinent news, man.
Yeah, this is this is not breaking news, but it's something that
No.
I don't feel like we really talked about in depth or at all in previous episodes of the podcast. But a couple of weeks ago, Adult Swim came out with a whole bunch of announcements. They had they were part of I'm scrolling to find it. They revealed a bunch of like returning series and other specials that were coming up at the Annecy International Film Festival, right? And one of those things that was discussed is the show Smiling Friends, which I mean we could just say they're friends of the show,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Michael Cusack, Zach, was it Hadel?
They know me, you know.
Yeah,
like
yeah. You guys are buddies, weren't you?
they signed Dexter's Blu-ray copy of Smiling Friends.
Yeah. Well, fans of Rick and Morty may be fans of Smiling Friends. And if you haven't heard it already, Smiling Friends is not only coming back for its third season this fall, but they have they're on contract for seasons 4 and 5 as well. So lots more Smiling Friends up in the future. So excited to see that. And yeah, a whole bunch of other announcements for lots of other shows.
Yeah.
You know, it's really interesting because like Adult Swim, I guess it's been this way for a long time, but like they branch out into so many other areas. Like even though like I still in the back of my head I'm like it's a Cartoon Network offshoot, and Adult Swim is like about animation, but like they've done so many other things, including like lots of crazy live action stuff, and yeah, lots more to come. Just so many different styles. Just when you look through, like there's a show called Heist Safari, and it looks like just like a bunch of animals that do like heists. It's 3 frog brothers robbing a bank. It's an animated high octane action comedy. Yeah, it seems right up my alley. I love heists. I love
miss
heists.
Neon Joe, Werewolf Hunter. I miss that. That's a good one. Old Neon Joe. Yeah. So that's awesome. Smiling Friends is cool. I think season 3 is coming out later this year. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I got a bunch of people into that show because it is just so crazy. And I love everything that they come out with. So yeah, looking forward to that. Travis, I know before we go on to bigger and better things that everybody wants to hear about, I want to talk about the Reddit post of the week, which I didn't put in the show notes. Why would I put it in the show notes?
No, that would have required you to do show prep.
Who knows about show notes? Not me. Oh no. So there are two things. Two posts that I want to point out. Not that they're close in numbers, but just because the second one I have a comment on. The first one is from Homeless Emperor. I love the fact that Jerry having the hottest girl in Summers High School thirsting over him. Lol. Has 9.4 thousand upvotes. And it's the picture of Summer's friend saying, "Summer, I wanna f your dad."
Yeah.
There it is. So good job. Also, it's labeled shit post because it's a pretty easy.
But has a fair amount of upvotes for the given category. Yeah. It's,
That's right.
Yeah. Beekeeping. Who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew?
The second one is from user Sid the Barrett. Nice little Pink Floyd reference there. Earlier Pink Floyd, right? Before David Gilmour really became part of the band. And this one is, this episode had so many funny moments, but the pettiness of this one got me hard. And right, that's really all I want to comment on. It's actually just from the Easter episode, like, hey, don't scan me, I'll scan you. It's just a picture of that. But I just wanted to comment on the pettiness of this one got me hard. That is like a very specific, very specific emotion or feeling. It's I just want to point out, Dexter and I, like, we were on Xbox Live and we are like going through like the Game Pass games, and there's one that was like, whoa, why is this game all about boobs, like these anime boobs? And then we looked at the comments, and then they started talking about gooning. They're like 10 out of 10 would goon again, and then it just cracked us up. So anyways, this one got them hard. Good job, Sid the Barrett.
All right. That's your Reddit posts of the week.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
But
good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff indeed. But you know, that's not all. We obviously have Reddit posts of the week, but guess what? We have something that you like to call the Dan Harmon Social Media Minute.
Dan, he makes posts at social media. That's it. All right. So looking at a few different things this week, Dan fairly active across the social media platforms, but this one stood out to me over on his Blue Sky. He writes, "Do you think Neil deGrasse Tyson went on Joe Rogan's show many times and mentioned a few clip-worthy science facts each time? Or do you think that long ago Neil deGrasse Tyson went on Joe Rogan for 5 hours and explained everything in 1 minute bursts? Hashtag Internet Science Clip Mysteries." That's the tweet. Yeah,
All right.
I don't know. I like the idea that the only way he consumes Joe Rogan's podcast is through 1 minute clips on Instagram and like reels, and he just watches Neil deGrasse Tyson in all these different clips and has no idea if these are all from the same episode or he's been on there many times. Yeah, the world may never know, or the millions of people who listen to Joe Rogan might know. I don't know.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, we'll never figure it out.
An indie podcaster by the name of Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Thanks for
With
that, Travis.
scruples. Does he have scruples?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He played Legends of the Fall, the latest Zelda game. All right, mixing references. All right, moving on. I think that's it for semi-pertinent news.
That's it. That's it. We're gonna get what?
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say, if any of you have semi-pertinent news that we're missing, which I'm sure we are, please shoot us in.
I do
in our
thorough
email.
Googlings.
Maybe
But I
ask
mean, I'm
ChatGPT.
assuming.
That's
yeah.
ChatGPT. Yeah, it's probably
Yeah.
current to like the last 4 years.
It's gonna invent Rick and Morty news stories that we're gonna then cover. But yeah, let us know if you hear a Rick and Morty news story. And we'll cover it in an upcoming episode.
That's right.
All right. It's time for a break. When we come back, we'll be digging into episode 5 from season 8 of Rick and Morty. So stick around, and we'll be right back.
Woo! We'll be right back. I think we'll be right back.
All right, everybody. Thank you for sticking around. It is now time to talk about Rick and Morty in a segment that we always call the main thing.
Ooh,
It's so quiet.
The main thing. The main thing.
It was really quiet.
Was
It's
it
really
was it
quiet
really
theme
quiet?
song.
Was it really quiet?
It maybe
Can
did you did you do original sound for musicians again?
Is the mic do I need to turn the mic up?
Nah, you're fine. You're fine.
All right.
You're great. You're beautiful.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I appreciate that. Hey everybody, we're here to talk about season 8, episode 5, Cryo, Mort, a Rickver. It aired June 22nd of 2025. It was written by Nick Rutherford and it was directed by Phil Mark Sagadraka. And by the way,
Phonetically spelled out over social media.
By the way, Phil Mark, I did my best by you, and hopefully I got close. But if I didn't get close, feel free to cuss me the hell out in Messenger. All right, Bronopsis, Travis, why don't you take this one? Take this one,
bruh. Rick and Morty want to rob a ship and cryo sleep, but people are light sleepers, bruh.
Nice. Our synopsis: 1 second you're robbing a cryo ship, and the next second you are involved in class warfare. Tale as old as time. Which is, it like Fievel Goes West, right? The American Tale, and because Fievel Goes West, I think was like the second one of that series, right?
Yeah, I mean the first one was American Tale. That was about coming to America, and then built on the popularity of the American Tale franchise. They had to come out with a sequel, American Tale 2, Fievel Goes West.
Yeah,
a more Western theme. Not as critically acclaimed, but still shown in my second grade classroom as we neared the end of the school year.
Was there a third one? An American Tale, Fievel murders a rival and buries him.
Fievel murders the Oak
desert.
Point High.
Buries him in the Las Vegas desert. There may be, but that's not what's important to us. What's important to us is this.
American Tale came out in 1986. We're doing an almost how old? Nearly 40-year-old reference.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Perfect for our demographic. All right, let's talk about this show. Title reference, Cry Me a River is what I'm assuming. Now, when I say Cry Me a River, right, I'm thinking of a song, but there are multiple songs that are titled Cry Me a River. What song do you think about when I say Cry Me a River?
Well, it's fun. It's funny you're asking about that, right? Because when I was doing the discussion posts, right, I didn't want to. Oh God, I didn't want to single out.
Did you just shut down your computer?
No, I didn't want to single out any specific one. So I looked for a bunch of ones. So you're thinking probably of the Julie London "Cry Me a River" song. Personally, I'm thinking of the "Cry Me a River" by Barbra Streisand in 1963. Some people might say Diana Krall in 2001. But if you're an Ella Fitzgerald fan, well, Cry Me a River is a song that she sang as well. And of course, Crystal Gale and Michael Bublé doing his cover of Justin Timberlake's Cry Me a River.
Yeah, Timberlake. That's the one we need to talk about. Timberlake's Cry Me a River. Come on. That's the one.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know that was a
How
thing.
silly. How silly of us. Yeah, so there's a lot of songs called Cry Me a River. And I'm assuming that was the best way they could fit Cryo in with Rick.
Yeah, they tried.
Yeah,
they
nailed it. They nailed it. Yeah, so we talked about this episode a little bit as it aired, a little bit before it aired, and I think the first 4 episodes of the series have really stood out. They've all been pretty great. And this initially for me was an episode that I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if this hits as hard for me as the other ones. I don't know. What were your initial thoughts as you were watching this episode?
My initial thought was, okay, chalk that one off of the intro episode list, because this is from the intro, the new intro. This episode,
Yeah,
is, right?
yeah, it is.
Okay,
It definitely is.
Which I think we called. I think this is one that we both agreed on that
I
this
believe
was going to
so.
be one.
I believe so.
Still waiting on that Nimbus one, but and also my kid was like, "Oh, that's from the intro. This is the intro." I'm like, "Yep, got it."
Eagle-eyed viewers will notice.
So my initial thoughts of it were, yeah, we try to be honest with you, fair viewer, about these episodes. We thought that this was the worst episode of the entire series. No, that's not true.
I did see that Reddit post though. I did see that Reddit post.
Oh, really? Did somebody
Yeah,
actually post
somebody posted that it was the worst episode ever. And then one of the top comments is like, that means you think it's worse than the Numericons episode.
that? And they're like, yes. I'm like, okay, all right. Quit bitching about the numerical. No, so like it starts in like one direction. The episode starts in like I like the first half of it I enjoyed. And then like it started going in like a different direction. And when the Penny song started, that's when I was like, I don't think I like. I was like, the Penny song is like all of my intros for semi-perts and the main thing, where it just didn't feel like they were trying at all. And maybe that's the joke. So I'm like, okay, all right, I could.
That song is one of my favorite parts of the whole episode.
that song kind of like broke me out of it, because there's nothing about it's so stupid. Like, I don't know why that's my hang up of the episode. I'm like, what are you talking about pennies? What's all this penny talk?
Well, I think it on some level ties back into this idea of just money and wealth, and I think that is a theme throughout this episode, right? Of how wealth can divide us, how wealth creates these class systems, how people that have a lot of wealth can get away with, as they quote in the episode, like, money affords us the ability to be dumb, right? Like, and that the people without a lot of money are doing all the work on the ship, and the people with the money, like, there's a lot of, socioeconomic themes throughout. And then in the end, like, it boils down to this silly nonsense race where they're just all racing each other literally to see who can get the money, get the shiny penny, little pennies, like, just like
I would do anything for pennies. I'd eat dirt for pennies.
So yeah, like, I think for me, like, trying to kind of analyze this episode and come up with talking points about it, like, that to me seems like the point of the episode. The way that it's presented is very much in kind of a standalone Rick and Morty adventure that by the end of it doesn't really have any consequence, and they kind of even allude to them going and repeating the same thing like over again at the end of the episode. So in that way, it's a classic Rick and Morty adventure. But yeah, like I think there's some good gags in it. But in terms of the overall like premise, I guess it just didn't stand out for me as much as some of the other episodes that we've seen.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you how you felt about the social class aspect of it. We've seen it on the Citadel before. That was not necessarily tied to wealth, right? That was tied to, well, we are just better than you, and you are the
Ricks and Mortys.
Yeah, the time machine people working in the mutants working in the
just Mortys
the
killing
mines.
Mortys.
So there's that aspect of it. It wasn't tied to wealth. This one was pretty explicitly tied to that, right?
Yeah.
The economic inequity, as Rick says. Um, do how do you feel it captured that in the first half? Because I think in the second half it doesn't. It kind of gets away from that a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it I mean, in a way pushes it to the extremes, right? Where you literally have two separate sections of the ship where people have like chips in their neck that force them to accept their reality, and they have to go and clean out all the toilets and stuff.
I
And
love
then you
piss.
just have
I love
the rich
piss.
people. Like I feel like we didn't really see too much of the rich people. It just those parents that were trying to get Rick to love them, I guess, was kind of what's going on.
And so I'll switch gears in a second, but I do agree. They didn't show a lot of the rich people. They showed a lot of the makeys,
Yeah,
the makeys
yeah.
and the takeys. They showed a lot of the makeys. That's where Morty was in hanging out, cleaning shit with by hand. I wanted to pull a thread, if you will, on you mentioning like Rick trying to make those parents fall in love with him or whatever. Is that what you took from that? Is that what you took from that relationship?
Well, no, I think ultimately, like, Rick was using them to get into the vault. That was his ultimate goal, and through the course of doing that and trying to manipulate them, he said what he had to say to get what he wanted, which was included him saying he loved them, right? But their genuine emotion and desire to like have this connection with their son that they think is Rick, I think was impactful to him, and they hint at that, right, with the way that he responds about them later on in the episode, the way that he has like the Polaroid of them at his constellatio or whatever, like, yeah, like I think he genuinely built some sort of connection with these people, and
when he's like, get over here, the dad rubs his head. He's like, oh no, you're messing up my gel.
Yeah, I just put gel in it. Come on, yeah.
such a teenage boy kid thing to say.
Yeah, and I think there's some speculation out there about Rick's own relationship with his parents, and that's something that hasn't really been explored in any past episodes. So that is sort of an area that's ripe for some storytelling and maybe kind of unpacking more about, you know, what Rick's parents were like, or what his life was like as a kid growing up. And so maybe this, as messed up as a situation as it was, maybe, you know, created some sort of, you know, parents that he never had or something like that. Yeah.
What did you think about the switch of the plot going into they make their way into the vault? The vault's already been robbed. It's completely gone. And then it turns out that the little boy is actually alive, and the real Chachako is also still alive.
Great twist to start with, and the fact that it was monkey bones or something like that.
Lucy or Lily.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a very interesting and like sharp right turn from an episode that felt like it was about one thing and then kind of like runs off in another direction, which, like, there's plenty of examples of that in other Rick and Morty episodes, and dating back to an episode that's about Inception turning into an episode that's like, Nightmare on Elm Street or something like they're just like the theme shift between commercial breaks is nothing new to this series, and I think it still kind of encapsulates what the episode was really about, right? Because once you have the discovery that the money's gone, and now really it puts everybody on that ship on equal footing, because their idea of status, their idea of wealth was tied to what was in that vault, and now that the vault is empty, they're all poor, they're all broke, right? And so now they're all chasing after that same reward, and chasing after Jimmy, who took it all from them, right?
Yeah, Jimmy.
And Chachaco, I guess he was involved. But
the right to remain poor, Chachaco.
So yeah, and I enjoyed the what is Rick space race, Morty, the fact that it turned into just like a kind of a wacky rat race, for lack of a better term, to get after that money, and in the end it ultimately does result in them all being on equal footing. Rick sort of has to put his foot down, give everybody a chip, and say, all right, here's a new planet for you. When you all get there, you're all going to be equal. And if you take this chip out, you really are going to die. So don't test me on this. But
don't
yeah. I think it works. I think some of my favorite bits from this episode happened in the second half, during all of that weird casino planet space race type stuff that was happening. So
yeah. I have one dad joke favorite bit of mine earlier in the episode, but I think we'll get into that in a second. Yeah, I think this episode was good. It's not my favorite of the season so far,
sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Some people are like, this is the best episode of the season. Other people, everyone has their opinion, and it varies wildly. But it is smack dab here in the center of the season. So we only have episode 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 left. And so I don't know where it's going to go from here, right? Usually the second half of the season goes in it starts leading us down the path of where we can get to the next one, right? So when we talk about, and I think we talked about this maybe last week or the week before, about how the decisions are made to put episodes where they are in the season, the art of season building and shuffling around episodes. I wonder what the impetus or the decision was to put this here. But yeah, good episode, well directed, well written. It just wasn't. It didn't. Maybe not my favorite of the season.
Yeah, and getting back to kind of how we opened this discussion, not every episode could be your favorite. That's not how favorites work, right? But
that's
it
not
was
true. Every episode could be my favorite.
Oh no. Okay.
Oh,
we'll take that. We'll take that one offline. But it was just interesting in our discussion. You're like, oh, I don't know if this episode does it for me as much or whatever. And then you're like, but what do I know? Because tons of people online are loving this episode. And then just the fact that, and then there's a post a day later that says this was the worst episode, in the show's history. So which
I absolutely disagree with.
Sure. Everybody knows it's the Meeseeks episode. And
the pilot.
Come for us in the comments.
Nobody liked the pilot. They're lucky they got it off the ground.
But yeah, so I think this is an interesting episode. It's there are layers that you can peel back if you look hard enough, and just interesting to see sort of the mixed response online from viewers on what they thought about it. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about our favorite bits, Travis, because there are a lot of good moments in the episode. So first of all, we want to say this. One of our favorite bits was the Oak Point High podcast cold open. And we all we want to say is that if you want us to stop podcasting about Rick and Morty, just bring us on for like a voice role.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't the first episode that they've done a bit about podcasting. There was the one where they did their own podcast about their abs. They're like plenty of it's not going to be the last either. Like, we know Dan Harmon listens to podcasts. We know plenty of people on the staff listen to podcasts. So all we're saying is, Harry, Ian, I know we were hanging out last week.
we're buddies now, friend of the podcast.
If you guys ever need voices,
zero scruples. We have zero scruples.
None. If you ever need voices for a podcast bit, we have recording equipment.
That's right.
It's readily available.
And we can improve it if it's not good enough.
But I did like this bit because they're looking for, and it's amazing how many podcasts there are on the same subject. So when they find a podcast that doesn't get into the details, Morty can quickly find one that gets into all the gory details. But it's the callback to this after they've set off the fire suppression system and they're trying to jump in their cryopods, and Rick yells at Morty, "You're gonna wish you were one of those Oak Point kids when I'm done with you." Just like when I first heard that, I was like, "What's he talking about?" Oh, it's the podcast that they were just listening to in the ship. So I thought that was a nice little connection for the joke.
Yeah, I dug that. Rick wanting to rob all the hyper coal.
Yeah, I just thought the term hyper coal, like low hanging fruit, maybe. Like, this is another example of just take kind of like a sci-fi word and stick it with a normal word, and yeah, it'll become
it like versus the Dan Aykroyd school of screenwriting, where you just make up like super complicated terms that mean really nothing. Yeah. Just add a sci-fi term to it. Same thing when Rick is yelling at Morty that everything that happens after this is his fault.
yeah. Early to blame Morty for everything that's happening, not being the responsible adult in the group. Yeah, I thought that was funny. After they hop in their cryopods and then are reawoken, it's very funny to me that when everybody's asleep, like all of the decoration for where the pods are and all the scenery is kind of in the, like, it's not explicit. And then as soon as like Rick wakes up, he's in the like pediatrics section of the cryopod and it's all children. And then
what's a schwanz?
The doctor that runs over and he's like, oh, he's super old and stuff. And they're like, is there anything you can do, doctor? And he's like, well, the short answer is no. The long answer is nope. They're like,
that is one of my that's one of my favorite bits right there, because I've made that same joke. That I'm not saying I created a joke. It's an easy joke to make. It's like a low hanging fruit joke to make. But so like in some emails I'll be like, short answer, no. Longer answer, nope. Longest answer, nope, not gonna happen.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. I went to school for medicine, not for manners. That's what he says.
Money does afford us the ability to be dumb. It's true.
Yeah, it's true. It is true. We'll just move on from that one. Thank you to our sponsors.
Yes.
The bit where Morty keeps kind of defying the rules of things, and so they check his chip to see if it's working or not, and then they see that he does not have a chip, and so they're like, they said if they take the chip out, it'll make you die. And that one girl just rips her chip out of her neck, and then collapses to the ground, motionless.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, geez, okay. Uh-oh. And then she just pops back up. She's like, he was right. Yeah.
Chaco, you're stupid and a genius or whatever that line is.
Yeah. Yeah, and then
Chaco.
and then General Chaco. It very quickly turns into the whole like uprising, fresh planet, fresh start. I think they've only been awake less than 24 hours and they're already, building propaganda signs and things like that.
So this is something I want to point out, and it very much turns into a Fight Club situation, right? Because it's this unwilling participant in an uprising of revolution. Morty being the narrator stand-in, where like he's doing it and he's like trying to tell people like, what are you doing? No, we shouldn't do that. It's like this is my beady.
This is my bang bang.
This is my bang bang, right? Let's go ahead and put a bang bang pin in the bang bang for now, right? And then a little bit later, like it's like, oh no,
great idea putting the pins in the bang bang.
Yeah. General Chachaco, right? And then all like that's very Fight Club, but then also the Fight Club aspect of they're doing all the waiter stuff, and they're like in Fight Club, they're doing the waiter like we drive your cars, we blah 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 blah. Do not fuck with us. Like all the waiters are the ones who are in charge of things and like lifting up the thing, like
yeah.
And then in Fight Club 2, one of the Fight Club members, when they're going through Project Mayhem, before they do Project Mayhem, Tyler Durden's like, you have to pick a fight with somebody and lose. And one of those people is like a mechanic, and he's like spraying water on a priest who's walking by. And then eventually that priest becomes one of the Fight Club members.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be talking about this, but I am. And so one of the priests in this episode, right, he becomes one of General Chachaco's men. So very, very Fight Club right there, which I thought was interesting, right?
Yeah.
And Fight Club is all about like tearing down the kind of like
they like materialistic kind of
yeah.
like yeah.
They bomb the TRW building, to erase everybody's credit at the end of the movie, right? So
yeah, there's actually a lot of parallels to Fight Club in this episode when you really start to think about it. It's weird. I didn't pick up on any of that until you started talking about it.
Yes.
Anyway, they do a really long, drawn out secret handshake. Which Morty comments in the episode, this might be too long for a secret handshake. It's like, it honestly is like super it's kind of like the handshakes that some basketball players do during their starting lineups. Taking it back to the first thing we were talking about.
Oh yeah.
Thunder up. All right. Okay. This one is just a delivery, like a line delivery that cracks me up. And it's when they're going to open the vault, and the vault says, "Greetings, Doug Jamerson." Like, nothing wrong, no hate if your last name is Jamerson, but just the way that it's delivered in the like, and I think it's because it's never like said. I think up until this point what their last name is, but like it's not. It's the It's if it was Jameson, we wouldn't have, but the fact that it's Jamerson, like, I don't know. It just like it cracks me up.
Welcome to the vault. Thank you for being rich. In that moment, and it reveals that Rick and Morty are not Chachaco and Jimmy. Rick says to the parents, "Let me say this as gently as I can. We're aliens. Let's go look at your son's bones."
and to his credit, that probably is about as gently as Rick can say that.
Yeah, like let's not go too deeply into how I've been misleading you this entire time. Let's go look at your son's bones.
Yeah.
The space race bit. So you mentioned Rat Race. I liked so the car chase stuff is going on. Very reminiscent of course, Rat Race, which was back in the mid '90s that came out. But also, I want to point out a couple other kind of car movies like that. Right, you got Cannonball Run, Cannonball Run 2, and then you've got Speed Zone with John Candy. John Candy was in Speed Zone, and I point this out because the car that Rick and Morty hop into is like this Ferrari, right? It is very Ferrari-ish. Now, if you go look at Speed Zone, the movie Speed Zone, which you can watch it on YouTube, it turns out. I didn't watch it at work, but I was looking it up at work. I'm like, oh, I could watch the entire movie here on YouTube. There is a red Ferrari that looks very, very similar. And the reason this sticks out to me is at the very beginning of the movie, the Ferrari's driving away from a cop, and it gets to a lake. And at the lake, there's a father. He's like skipping stones with his son. He's like, see, you just do it like that. Skip, 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 skip. And then the Ferrari comes up to the lake and goes, skip, 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 skip across the water. Anyway, John Candy movie. It's very, very, very good. It's got the Smothers Brothers in it. Doesn't matter. So it's got that aspect of it, the Cannonball Run Speed Zone. But also, there's a movie way, way back in the day, I think like 53, maybe a little bit later. It's a Mad World, which is a very, very famous movie full of famous comedians from that day. The thing about that movie is like a lot of comedians wanted to be in it. Look it up. It's basically what Rat Race was, but back then.
Yeah.
And yeah, the very end of the very end of this episode, when they're all like running in space trying to get to it, and that kind of like jaunty music that they're playing, very reminiscent of It's a Mad World. So yeah, I thought those parallels were interesting. That it went from like Fight Club to It's a Mad World.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I think some of the bits that they snuck in through that sequence, they're just great. Like there's a moment where one of the makeys who is first getting his chip adjusted, he's ranting at the beginning of the episode about how he should be driving the ship, and then he's the one like in the cockpit of the giant spaceship driving it at the end. I thought that was great. The whole chicken coop cluster thing, it's all coops, wall-to-wall coops. That was hilarious. Why did you roll down the windows? I wanted the full experience. Like I thought that was great. We talked about the Copper Pennies song. I thought that gave kind of good kind of backtracking to the zaniness of this moment.
Like the Copper Penny song, like it kind of reminds me of like Eastbound and Down, load 'em up and try, like this kind of like the song that like is just going on through all of the chase scenes throughout the movie. By the way, It's a Mad World came out in '63. Not 53. I was 10 years off. But
we're full of fresh references on this episode.
Sid
guys.
Caesar, Milton Berle, Buddy Hackett, Mickey Rooney. Oh my gosh, just Ethel Merman.
I'm pretty sure I watched that movie in my high school films class.
Oh yeah. It's long. It's a long movie.
Throwback.
Anyway, throwback. Go check it out. You'll love it.
Wall-to-wall coops.
What I wanted to do, I wish I had more time to do this, but I wanted to watch those movies that I just pointed out, and was like try to find where the similarities are between this episode and those. But I don't have like 60 hours to kill between the episode air and when we record this.
Yeah, that is the hard part about sometimes doing this show, like when we do it, because we want to get this out as quickly as possible. But like we want to have some time to digest the episode and think about some of these talking points and really consider all of our thoughts about the episode. So we don't do it the night of, like, right? We don't do it immediately after it airs. But there's still times where you're like, man, I'd love to go back and watch that movie that this is referencing and see, what other references are in there, things like that.
Mhm.
But I don't know. Maybe that could be an off-season project we could do for some, not all, but some episodes. Yeah.
But good news, everybody. It won't happen. So
We'll see.
it's just
Who knows? Or we'll
Okay,
just do
you know-
AE in the off-season. One or the other. All right. I put in here a note. Just Jimmy's a little jerk. Like I definitely just an entitled little rude kid. Yeah. It's funny because the whole first half of the episode you hear descriptions of what Jimmy is like. But then to actually like see him, yeah, it holds up. Yeah.
yeah, and Rick saying, "I love you too." You hear that? He loves us too. He said it.
He's never said that before. Like, yeah. And just the fact that he stole everybody's money and went and bought a yacht and
Yeah,
hung out in a casino planet
on Blackjack 9.
Blackjack Night.
Yeah, the fact that they didn't learn anything, Rick and Morty, from their experience, and they went to go rob another cryo ship, but this time to share the drugs if there are any.
Yeah, I guess they did learn something. Yeah. It's about equal. It's about equal parts. That's right. The post-credit stinger, where they go back to Blackjack 9, and it's like a dramatic scene where the monkey, ape, orangutan, I don't whatever,
right. Yeah.
is like playing some version of space poker. I just love the line at the end where the cards dealer's like, it's days like these that remind me why I got into this. Like, like being a poker dealer is some noble profession or something. Like, but that was a pretty good little joke to end off the episode. Considering all those things, considering everything we talked about, do you have a favorite part of the episode, or sort of your best or worst moments from this 5th episode of season 8?
Yeah, I got a tickle, and maybe I should say not. Maybe I should say it in a different way. But I was tickled. No, that doesn't work either. It's the same verb. By Rick and like the like the outfits, the like schoolboy outfit, and then
Yeah.
like, and he's just like, he's so into it, and he's just like, and he's like, I like this.
The scene right before where he gets beat up by Morty in like the hallway, and he's just like skipping down a hallway with like
with
a big old
giant
lollipop.
yeah.
And, yeah, it's just like the little like sailor outfit. That's just hilarious. Yeah, like that's
What about
anything
you?
to commit to the bit so that he could
Oh.
get the space coal, right, or the hyper coal.
Wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
What
For
about
me,
you, man?
I think the space race stuff really cracked me up, and just cutting between all the different cars, and then like cut to a reporter that's reporting on the scene, and he's like, haha, never mind, I'm in the race now, I'm going after this, and he goes, and then the space police officer that's hiding behind like a meteor. Like,
I love
just
escalations.
so many classic tropes that they managed to wedge into relatively short amount of time there at the end of the episode. So yeah, that was probably my favorite part for sure.
All right. Well, we'd love to hear what your favorite bits in such and such are. Send us an email or wherever you can do, or
leave a
or
comment if you're watching on YouTube. Let us know what your favorite part was.
or try telekinesis, Kyle. Just like beam it into the nether, and we'll catch
open
it.
up my mind to receive right now.
Open your mind. Yeah. So yeah. All in all, Travis, final thoughts on this episode.
Solidly placed in the middle of the season. This is a satisfactory episode of Rick and Morty.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thanks, man.
Yeah. You're welcome. Any listener suggestions or short outs that you dug up this week, Brandon?
Were there any that you dug up? I have like one.
No,
I have one.
no, I didn't. No, I didn't dig up a single one.
the one I have is from Scary Terry commenting on the interview that we had with Harry and Ian.
Yes.
Just just saying like, oh, so cool. And it was so cool, and that you guys got to listen to us basically being best friends with them, and them like committing to
Pretty
hanging
much
out.
Just
Like,
being our
like
best friends now.
doing like what are like those rider buddies with a snail mail? What are those things called? Like when you're
Pen pals.
yeah, rider buddies.
Owl
wasn't part of the
Dusty
interview.
Gaming said 100 years Rick and Morty forever on
Yeah.
on that interview.
Rider buddies.
Yeah, and then of course Scary Terry folds. Yeah. I don't see.
I think
Yeah,
that's- I think
leave some more comments, guys. Tell
Yeah,
us your thoughts.
we want to shout you out and ask us questions because we want to be wrong about the answers we give you. But we want to talk. We want to be able to do that for you.
Short out to Chris Anderson, who recently subscribed over on the YouTubes, along with several other folks, but that's the most recent one. So you get a shourt out. Congrats,
Heck yeah.
Chris.
Heck yeah. Okay, so for next week's episode 6, it'll probably sound a little bit weird because I'll be recording from Albuquerque because this was the last screener that we had. So this next week should be fun. Next week
Welcome to Travis finding out about this live while we're recording.
So
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. You'll hear all about it as you're like, Brandon's quality is not as good as it normally is, and it's usually pretty bad.
All right, everybody, that's our show. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching. If you're new here, like, subscribe, do all the things. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button, leave a comment. And, just thank you so much for being here, and we will see you next week with a brand new episode. Until then, I'm Travis.